And thanks everybody for coming. We're very excited to be here for FASHIONTECH Berlin. I think it personally makes a lot of sense. The tech, the startup scene is very strong, and everybody is super fashionable. So there's also this culture of open-mindedness and creativity, which is very important for fashion, obviously, but also for startups and entrepreneurship. And so here at Plug and Play, we're very passionate about building this fashion tech community in Berlin. And so who are we? Who are Plug and Play? So we know the entrepreneur. We help startups to succeed. And we also like to invest in companies. And that's really how we began. And so some of our early stage investments, like Google, they came to us with 4 people. PayPal, Peter Thiel and Max Levchin, they started in our building. We were the seed investor. Dropbox, Lending Club, SoundHound, and a company N26 that a lot of you may be familiar with. They all started with us. And so we used to do 4 or 5 investments per year, and now, as of last year, 2017, we did over 240 investments worldwide. And so we've really grown in terms of scale. We've also built this ecosystem with 410 startups in our headquarters. So in our building, I'd love to host you if you ever come to Silicon Valley. We actually have over 400 startups in one place, from seed all the way up to Series B stage companies. We have over 180 venture capital partners who co-invest with us, and over 250 corporations as well. And it's something that we've built globally. And so like Ole mentioned, we're very strong in Silicon Valley. That's where our headquarters is. But we've now scaled this across the world, 28 locations. And as you can see, quite a lot of activity in Germany. So when it comes to fashion and retail, it's actually one of the first verticals that we launched in Silicon Valley and one of our strongest programs in terms of locations around the world. And so Silicon Valley, New York, Paris, Amsterdam, very big presence in China as well. And so we're running accelerator programs for a number of these corporations that you see who are our partners. Kering Group, for example, which is Gucci, Saint Laurent, Bottega Veneta. These guys are working with us around sustainable fashion and also around e-commerce and things around like direct-to-consumer in Paris. And so my role, I oversee a number of these fashion and retail programs, both on the startup side, the corporate side. And so what I wanted to do today, instead of kind of getting up here and saying, what is blockchain, what is artificial intelligence with a bunch of diagrams, I wanted to actually bring up 5 challenges, 5 trends that I'm seeing from these programs that we're seeing, also from traveling around the world, shopping, some kind of real life examples. And so number 1, I wanted to talk about something, it's a hot topic in the fashion industry, is fast fashion. And I think that, there's maybe a negative impression around fast fashion. Like I walked into a shop the other day, I needed a pair of jeans or something, pants for a dinner, and I saw like 400 pairs of chinos just sitting there with like sale signs slashed through it. And I really thought, where is this all going? And this is just one shop. And so, I think, but what I think with fast fashion is there's really the opportunity, we have to look at it as an opportunity. And so there's opportunity for personalization, customization, and also less waste. And so we've seen sort of how artificial intelligence has been applied to the fashion industry across the value chain, maybe like in manufacturing and production, automating processes, but also in the design stage as well. And so one of our partners, PVH, with their brand Tommy Hilfiger, they have done an AI project with IBM, and they've analyzed thousands of previous trends, lookbooks, customer data, transaction data, to actually predict what their future lines will look like. And so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Tommy Now line, but that is something that's been very successful. They've got it from kind of like design to on the shop floor within 6 months, as opposed to like the typical 18-month production cycle. Another couple of examples I want to touch on. So one of our companies, Unmade. So this is a customization platform, actually a London-based startup. We're an investor, and they're in our Paris program. And so they've partnered with FARFETCH and Opening Ceremony. And a stat I read actually was that 50% of Gen Z females would like to have this customization feature. And so what they do, they have this very kind of consumer-friendly, snappy front-end software where you can actually go on like Opening Ceremony website or FARFETCH, customize like the pattern, but then they also have back-end technology that goes right into the manufacturing and production lines for these companies, so that it can make like much smaller quantities of customized goods and products. And so very interesting. A second company I wanted to highlight is Grabit, again, one of our seed investments. They've gone on to raise about $21 million, including investment from Nike. And they've launched a big partnership with Nike so what they're doing, Grabit, is they're harnessing robotic technology. So they have this like movable arm that can pick up different things. And so they're helping to assemble Nike shoes. And they can actually do it 20 times faster than humans. And so again, this is a nice example of fast fashion. And so, like I was saying, I think we should see it as an opportunity. Not necessarily, there's obviously the sustainable angle and a number of issues that I'll get to in a little bit. But it's an opportunity, and it also is forcing brands like Kering, like Balenciaga, to remain current and to remain relevant. We've seen a number of digital native brands come up. Again, in kind of this fast fashion realm. So one I wanted to talk about, a case study, is a streetwear brand, Antisocial Social Club. And so these are the guys who came up very fast about 2 years ago. They have a simple like Jill Down t-shirt or Jill Down hoodie with a screen print logo on it. Very simple, but a great marketing strategy. They used influencer marketing. They had great Instagram campaigns. And they also had this kind of made-to-order model. So they would put up the pictures, they would do a drop, and then you would order it, and then they would manufacture. And that could be argued that that's more green, more efficient as well. And so incumbent brands, like I mentioned, have to pay attention to these companies, how quickly they can rise up now with all the capabilities that are out there. But why I chose this as an example is because they rose very quickly, but also they've kind of, in my opinion, come down a little bit. I don't want to say anything too bad, but they've come down a little bit is because they didn't pay attention to their whole value chain. So they got their sort of marketing down, their influencer stuff down, but their manufacturing, their production was really lacking. And so like I ordered, I think, a bomber jacket in January, and it came in June or July. And so I don't need a bomber jacket in July. It's been like the hottest July ever in Berlin, or June in Berlin. And so this is a real example. You have to pay, these brands really have to pay attention across the whole cycle of their supply chains, their customer service, and so on. Okay, next area I want to talk about is Instagram. So Instagram, I think maybe some of us forget that it's a tech company, or it was a startup, and so I really see it as in the intersection of fashion and tech. It's the place people are going to shop, really, or going for inspiration and to see what they want to buy. But more and more, the capabilities and the tech that's behind Instagram and Facebook is very important. Fashion brands need to pay attention. And so, you see clickable links, there's full e-commerce capabilities. And so more and more, these brands, their marketing teams need to pay attention. There's also great insight you can take from the data that can be fed back into the production line, the design. You could put up pictures not of just like a small run, see if it's working, and then push it out globally. And so not just Instagram, I wanted to be kind of a little bit funny and use Instagram, but I think that more generally, brands and fashion houses need to pay attention to what are all these new channels, what are these new models to reach the customer. Direct to consumer is important. How is Spotify going to become important in the fashion industry? When cars start driving themselves, is that going to become a new channel, a new platform, and so on. Next area, my time is running down, so next area I want to talk about is experience shopping. So how I see this is that everybody thinks retail is dying. I don't really want to believe that. I like shopping too much. I think maybe some of you guys do too. And so, but there's still a number of headaches and hang-ups about actually shopping. Like, like I mentioned with the Chino example, or if you're lining up to try something on or to pay, or you can't find the right product in the store. And, we've heard a lot of technology go into e-commerce, online shopping, but not much has changed in the retail store. We've tried beacons, we've tried tablets in the store. Nothing is really stuck. And so we're seeing brands like North Face use virtual reality to take you to the Colorado Rockies or to the Swiss Alps when you want to buy a North Face jacket. You don't want to be in a department store in Berlin or in London, for example. Some of our other companies as well, so Alternet's, very interesting startup you should check out. They're making the storefront, so the outside window of the retail store, interactive and engaging. So it feeds personalized content to ongoing consumers or walkers. It brings in foot traffic. And what I see is this could be used potentially, like if the store is closed. So when I walk around Mitte, for example, and there's cool sunglasses or shoes or something, and the store is closed, they're losing that transaction. I'm not going to go back there. So if they have this technology, you could perhaps save this onto your phone, or you could even buy it from this interactive window. So fourth area, still an issue. It's been a problem for a couple of years, but I had dinner recently with Simon from ASOS, and he gave me quite an alarming stat. He said that 70% of all things that are purchased on ASOS are returned in Germany. And so that was pretty high, I don't know. And so we all do it. We order the large, we order the medium, we order 2 sizes. And this is just a headache for everybody, for the consumer, for the brand, for the platform, maybe not for the DHL or the courier, but also for the environment. And so this is really a thing we're seeing across our different programs. How can we reduce this with technology? And so we've seen a lot of money, over $100 million being put into TrueFit, a Boston startup that's helped to solve this. One of our companies, Capacity, has partnered with Balenciaga and Kering and Saint Laurent to do 3D imaging and videos of products. So I think that one of the main things, when I'm shopping online, is I can't actually see it very well. If it's a black T-shirt, you don't know if this one's good or this one's good, for example. But Capacity are really helping with that. And Shippo is a cloud-based courier and platform that aggregates all different courier options, delivery options, and really syncs in with e-brand and e-commerce platforms. Last area, I know you heard a lot about sustainability yesterday, but I want to touch on it as well because we're very passionate about this space. We have a program in Amsterdam called Fashion for Good with over 20 corporate partners that are really pushing this agenda with us. We've selected 30 startups out of about 1,000 that applied already that have things like new materials, new productions, and so on. This is Vetmont's display at Harrods, so I guess the high-end brands are paying attention to this. And what I sometimes talk about with Helen from Kering is what message should we use to push this out? Do we go with fear? Do we show I was going to put a picture of an ocean with landfill in it or clothes in it, but I didn't. Or do we go with a more positive approach? I had a friend that came through the other day, and he looked really cool, had a nice bag, cool watch, and then he starts telling me that everything is vegan. And so, do we go with that approach? Do we have a more positive message? And so, what we're doing with this program, and what I see is that it has to come from the consumer. Consumers have to be more aware of this issue. But also on the corporate side, it's going to require collaboration and a coming together to really push this forward. 2 startups you should check out. I'm a bit out of time, but one, Orange Fiber. They're using orange peel and citrus byproducts. They launched a worldwide campaign with Ferragamo to make clothing. And then another one, Provenance, is a blockchain startup. I had to mention blockchain. So Provenance are improving transparency and traceability across the whole supply chain. And so, again, you should definitely check them out, one of our great startups in Amsterdam. And so just rounding it up and bringing it back to what we do, so we look at these challenges. So they say these 5 areas, like design, new models, like Instagram, experience shopping, and so on. We use these as our kind of keywords. These are given to us by our corporate partners, by what we see across the programs. We then do a big sourcing process across the world, across our 28 locations, bring in about 1,000 startups. We do the due diligence on those. We know the startups very well. We've been investing for over 20 years. And then together with the corporations, we decide which companies are going to receive investment from us and receive pilot and business development opportunities with these corporate partners. And so thank you very much for listening. I hope it was interesting. Thank you.